F-35 fighter jet that crashed in an Air Force base in Alaska. The pilot ejected to safety. It was all caught on camera.
The crash happened during the landing phase of a scheduled training exercise. The U.S. Air Force pilot was able to safely eject.
Imagine this. You're soaring at hundreds of miles per hour in one of the most advanced fighter jets ever built. Your mission is routine, part of a standard training exercise, but suddenly, the controls you trust with your life begin to fail. The $200 million F-35A you are piloting refuses to respond. Your landing gear refuses to extend. Sensors tell you the aircraft is on the ground, but you are 2,065 feet above it. Every second that passes brings you closer to catastrophe, and yet there is a chance, just a sliver, to save yourself and the jet. This is not a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster. This is what happened on January 28, 2025, at Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska. At the time, very few details were released. The incident sparked speculation and raised countless questions, but the full truth remained locked away. Until now. Fast forward to late August 2025. After months of investigation, the Accident Investigation Board has finally revealed exactly what went wrong. And what they discovered is both fascinating and alarming. A chain of events triggered by something as simple as frozen hydraulic fluid that nearly cost a pilot his life and destroyed one of the most advanced jets in existence. Here's what happened. The pilot, whose name remains classified for security reasons, was part of a 4-ship flight tasked to act as Red Air aggressors in a routine training exercise. The F-35A tail number 19-5535 had lifted off into the frigid Alaskan sky, temperatures hovering at a bone-chilling 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Conditions like this test both the human mind and cutting-edge machines. And in that frozen air, disaster was quietly waiting. The first warning came in the form of a predictive overspeed gear alert. As the aircraft accelerated past 275 knots calibrated airspeed, the system indicated a possible problem with the landing gear. To a casual observer, this might seem minor, but to a pilot flying a 5th-generation fighter jet, this is a red flag, a signal that the very mechanisms keeping the aircraft controllable may be compromised. He attempted to retract the landing gear. Nothing. He tried again to lower it, but the nose gear froze at a left angle. The plane, seemingly aware of its own malfunction, reacted as if it were already on the ground. Sensors that normally keep pilots informed were now lying to him, creating a surreal and terrifying scenario. He was airborne, yet the jet's systems insisted he was on the runway. Now comes the part that separates a skilled pilot from the rest. Rather than ejecting immediately, he took an unprecedented step. He called Lockheed Martin engineers mid-air. For 50 minutes, he remained on a live conference call, attempting to troubleshoot a machine that, by all appearances, was failing him entirely. Imagine the mental pressure. Every maneuver, every calculation, every word exchanged with engineers had to be precise, because any mistake could be fatal. In a desperate bid to regain control, the pilot attempted 2 touch-and-go landings, trying to coax the nose gear into alignment. Both attempts failed. Each failure increased the tension in the cockpit and on the ground. The jet continued to spiral, pitching upwards 30 to 40 degrees, banking 38 degrees to the left. The aircraft's vertical descent in the viral video that circulated online is explained by this moment. The plane climbed after the pilot ejected, reaching an altitude of 3,005 feet above sea level, 2,006 feet above ground level, before stalling and crashing back to Earth in a massive fireball. So what caused this near-apocalyptic scenario? According to the newly released AIB report, the root cause was contamination of the hydraulic fluid in the nose and main landing gear struts with water. In the extreme cold, the water froze, preventing the struts from extending fully. This led the weight-on-wheel sensors to falsely indicate the plane was on the ground, even though it was still airborne. Additional contributing factors included crew decision-making during the in-flight conference call, insufficient oversight of hazardous materials programs, and a failure to adhere to proper hydraulic servicing procedures. What's even more shocking, this was not the first time Alaska had witnessed this particular type of failure. Just 9 days prior, another F-35 at Eielson experienced a similar hydraulic icing problem, but that aircraft managed to land safely. In this instance, however, the extreme cold, combined with the mechanical and procedural failures, created a perfect storm. The F-35A, one of the most advanced fighter jets in the world, was almost lost, and it was only the skill and calm of the pilot that prevented a human casualty. The jet itself, while damaged beyond repair, is part of a program with a projected total cost exceeding $2 trillion through 2088. The F-35 program has faced years of scrutiny over production shortcuts, high costs, and complex maintenance requirements. Each of these factors played into the Alaska crash, reminding us that even the most sophisticated machines are vulnerable when human oversight or environmental conditions are not accounted for. But this story is not just about one pilot, one plane, or one crash. It has larger implications for global defense and military technology. The F-35 program is a linchpin of the United States' modern air capabilities, with dozens of allies relying on it for defense. Yet geopolitical tensions are reshaping the landscape. For instance, Spain recently decided against purchasing the F-35, opting instead for European-made aircraft like the Eurofighter Typhoon and the Future Combat Air System. This decision is part of a broader push by European nations to invest in homegrown military technology and reduce dependency on U.S. defense systems. Analysts cite concerns over political uncertainty as contributing to the shift, creating questions among NATO allies about long-term reliance on American-made jets. The implications are profound. If allies pivot away from the F-35, interoperability, the ability of forces from different nations to operate seamlessly together, could be compromised. And yet, Europe sees opportunity. Companies like Dassault Aviation in France are ready to offer alternatives, such as the Rafale fighter jet, while Spain's investment in FCAS signals a commitment to sovereignty and self-sufficiency in defense manufacturing. Returning to Alaska, the human element of the crash is striking. Watching the pilot float to the ground under a parachute, witnessing the jet explode into flames, one cannot help but feel the tension, the pressure, and the skill involved. In extreme cold, under life-threatening conditions, the pilot relied on split-second decision-making, years of training, and the support of engineers to survive. So next time you see a fighter jet streak across the sky, remember this. Beneath the sleek lines and advanced avionics is a human being, making split-second decisions in extreme conditions, balancing life, technology, and the unforgiving laws of physics. This was the reality of the F-35A crash in Alaska, a story of tension, skill, survival, and the fragile dance between man and machine in the modern era of aerial warfare.